Would you like to learn a brand new and innovative way to invest your extra money that has a low barrier to entry and low competition? What if I told you that it is a guaranteed method to get up to 18 to 20% return on your investment? Tax lien and deed purchasing is the only way to get into the real estate market through the back door. No credit and no loans needed. This method isn't commonly taught, and therefore the competition is very low, for now. Put together a 14-hour info-packed course which will teach you everything you'll need to know to get started. Learn at your own pace, step-by-step guided video and aids to start you on the TLC deed investment process. The course offers many learning tools for new investors, helping ensure you safely invest in tax liens and deeds. Contact us today and join the buyback team.
All right, welcome to Primetime Home Buyers. I'm trying to get my lighting right. Y'all see the background a little sketchy, but I pray that it all evens out by the end of the broadcast. Blessings. I hope you guys are doing well on this Monday. Yes, you are here with your host, Lashley, on Primetime's Home Buyer session of Secure Your Energy. So today we're going to continue our conversation where we were talking about squatters, okay? Squatters and tenants' rights. We talked about evictions, some of the things to be aware of, some of the hidden steps that you can do as a renter to protect yourself, things to know. So we went down that yellow brick road, but because last week's broadcast was so long and it was so many videos highlighting squatters, I wanted to continue that conversation today. So we still have a few more videos to show you because it got a little wild. And the reason why we're going to show you these particular videos, because what we're going to follow up is what is actually squatters' rights. Now, I was going to do a conventional PowerPoint, get a little, uniform. But this is not a particular topic for tax liens and tax deed investment. So I feel like that is a reason why I wouldn't make a regular PowerPoint. Also, doing my research, every state has their own rules and regulations. So I did find an amazing website that I can share with you guys from whatever state you are at, so you can get a start of understanding squatters' rights versus tenants' rights. I think, let me say, what was it saying? That's going to be like towards the end, but it's like squatters' rights state by state. So holdover tenant, unknown person, and adverse possession. So we're going to go into that towards the end because, we like to talk about stuff, but I love to give y'all resources. I don't want to just complain, talk about what's going on, and not give y'all no resources, okay? So let's get to it. We're going to get to our first video today. Why is it so hard to get rid of professional tenants? Now, I saw this video on TikTok, but I didn't share with you guys because somebody mentioned that it was like orchestrated. So I said, why show you that when I can show you what's going on in real time all around the United States? Let me get myself on the right side. And this was 1 month ago, actually, in Texas. Let's listen to this. I think it's CBS News.
We're going to start with that I-Team update on a very messy situation, physically and metaphorically. We showed you the cigarette butts and the bottles filled with human waste that was left inside of this North Texas home.
We've also shown you the woman, here she is, who lived here, refusing to pay rent. Heather Schwab is her name, also known, though, as the serial squatter. She has left landlords frustrated for years. She's finally, by the way, out of this home in Rowlett. But this case has led to a lot of questions about why it is so hard to get rid of what some lawyers call professional tenants who basically exploit the eviction process.
Andrea Lucia getting some answers for us tonight.
2 months after the checks started bouncing, Heather Schwab is out of the Rowlett house. Its owners say she leased under a different name.
Not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Colin Davis knows that eviction could have stretched on for months.
And I am aware of cases in Dallas County that are still pending that have been sitting there for at least 6 months and nothing's happened.
Attorney Jeff Sprague has dealt with Schwab before.
2017, I actually handled 3 separate cases in a span of 6 weeks in the same neighborhood in Frisco.
Some viewers have asked why it's so hard getting someone like Schwab out. Some of you have even offered your own suggestions. But Sprague says it's just not as easy as most people think, especially when you're dealing with someone who's been through this a lot. Schwab, as we've reported, has been evicted more than 20 times in North Texas alone. Although Rowlett police are now investigating, law enforcement, Spriggs says, will often tell homeowners they need to settle these cases in court.
The process for eviction is a civil process. It's easy for law enforcement to say we don't want to get involved.
Spriggs says attorneys also discourage trying to force tenants out on your own by cutting utilities or any other means.
Why don't you just go in with guns and drag them out by your horse?
Spriggs says that could get the landlords in trouble with the law.
Because the idea is we don't want self-help. We don't want the Wild West. We don't want a landlord coming in with their own guns and dogs and sending their tenant out. In some cases, because the landlord may actually be wrong.
In some cases.
That's why y'all remember what I talked about last week. You see me making that guilty face. I'm over here like, because I was talking about the squatter gang. That's not real. Nobody create that. Yeah, squatters may get squatted on. But what that goes to say, what he was saying is absolutely right. There are a lot of serial squatters, such as this young lady right here, who make it their life mission to go home to home and actually squat using different names. Obviously, she did pay some type of rent at first, and then the check started bouncing. So there's a thin line between being a tenant, an overstayer, and a squatter. Okay, so let's just get in a little bit more into a few other ones, because these things get kind of serious, and that's what I wanted to show you tonight, and the reason why you should go actually the legal way, because it turns into a problem. So squatters take over home, call police on neighbors for harassment. Hold on, that was the one we showed you last week. Hold on, I think we got another one. This was squatters come back for revenge after being driven out of Las Vegas home. Let's check this one out, because I want to show you more ones that are more intense, because these situations can get intense. And you as a homeowner have to be aware of how far these things can go. I think I found a video where someone was actually harmed, okay?
After one man chased off some squatters with a baseball bat, they are back with a vengeance. That night, they came back with you all. Moved the couch and all kinds of stuff back there.
These squatters came back for revenge, and now an all-out war has erupted in this Valley neighborhood. 13 Action News reporter Tom George is live near Desert Inn and Maryland Parkway with the latest. And Tom, this is really insane.
Well, Trisha and Steve, neighbors here have no idea what else to do. They already tried kicking out squatters with a baseball bat. They got the county to come and kick them out, but they say the next day they were back again, and one even tried to attack them. So now they're putting up these signs around the neighborhood to put them on notice.
They could be in there sleeping right now. What do I know?
Nick Masala's never formally met his next-door neighbors.
All locked up. Hey!
But don't expect him to roll out the welcome mat.
No fruitcakes.
Let me stop. I actually thought this guy was the squatter. Okay, but I'm sorry. That's what I thought.
Party, any of that business going on.
Last week, a neighbor chased the squatters out of this house with a baseball bat, and the county boarded it up. But Masala says as soon as the cameras were off and the crews were gone,
that night they came back with you all. Moved the couch and all kinds of stuff back there.
You can even see the ledge where they were able to climb up, and even some furniture through the front door. And they were back with a vengeance when the neighbor who called 13 Action News initially went back over to try and take pictures. One of the squatters chased him down, nearly breaking his door.
That makes that guy part of my...
If you're going to act big and bad, you're going to have to deal with the consequences.
language, but the a-hole of the year.
Metro identified that suspect as 28-year-old Louis Lehman. He's wanted for attempted burglary and home invasion.
I mean, that is ridiculously ruthless, and that guy should go to jail.
In the meantime, neighbors banding together, posting these flyers.
We got cameras that we're putting up,
letting them know they're watching.
The free ride's over. In fact, it never started. Not here.
Now, we looked at a notice that was left on the door. It says it's owned by a bank in Dallas. It's owned by Fannie Mae. We called their office in Dallas, and they say they try and contract local people to make sure that the property is kept up until it can be sold. We gave them the address and a link to our other story so they can investigate. Meanwhile, neighbors say they'll be attending a community meeting with police tomorrow to try and get something done. Reporting live, Tom George, 13 Action News.
Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. What I did notice from this actual broadcast, that there must be an increased rate in urban areas and areas that's being developed. Like for instance, we talk about opportunity zones. So in those particular areas, you may find more squatters as well. So investors, tax lien investors, deed investors, foreclosure, we're going into these opportunity zone areas, and you want to be aware of what may can happen. So you want to have that right security. Sometimes we're going to talk about some of the things you could do, but I'm going to give you a heads up. Get a dog. Sometimes you get a dog in there, put that lock down that they come in there. Yep, the dog probably sound rougher than me, but you know what I'm saying. Confrontation between squatter and landlord ends with Detroit police putting the squatter out. Let's see how this one works. Hold on 1 second. This was about 5 years ago. Let's get to it. These things get a little bit hand-on. Let's see how this officer actually was able to put him under arrest. He probably was acting like a fool.
Only on 7 tonight, a squatting nightmare.
A landlord takes us inside his battle with people moving into homes that are not theirs. He says they've invaded several places he owns or manages. One ended up in flames.
7 investigator Jim Kurtzner is on Westphalia Street on Detroit's east side with a first-hand look at the problem.
The property management company asked us to meet them at this house to confront the squatters.
Show us the electricity. How's it on there?
Take a look at the electric meter on the back of the house. The power is off. The man and woman here told me they have a lease to live here. Show me the lease and I'll leave. But this couple said they were going to wait for the authorities to sort this out. So the landlord and I both called police.
Unless I tell the police you're here, they're probably not going to come for hours.
He showed us pictures on his cell phone where he's called police to remove squatters too many times. After we called, the lady drove off and the man here walked off. You waiting for the police? You waiting for the police? I thought you were going to.
I'm sorry. Balance.
Wait for the police.
Stop playing. Oh, God, stop playing with me, man. Okay. Stop playing with me.
After that, I called 911 a second time. And we just had a physical confrontation.
I'll get you over to a supervisor, sir. Hold on.
Within minutes, the first car.
Once you said physical confrontation, woo, somebody going to jail.
Arrives, lights and siren. Then another unit. Then another. And finally, a supervisor. The landlord says this could have.
And he probably said, I got the news here, too. That's when they showed up like, boop, 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 boop. Okay, sorry.
All been avoided.
I'll give you $200. Just give me the keys. Get the hell out of my house. Because I didn't want him to steal my furnace.
He gave us these pictures from another house. He says when the squatters were forced out, they torched it.
If we pay one set of squatters, then they're going to be in another house, and then they're going to want that. You get that rep.
He says in the suburbs of Detroit, police arrest squatters. Here, they had no lease to show police. They were told to get out. Their friends from down the street started moving their stuff.
He should be arrested, because if he's not arrested and he goes to that house there, this house will be firebombed tonight or tomorrow night.
Police said they will drive by to keep watch.
He's going to be sitting there laughing when we come here, boarding it up with our tails between our legs. It happens over and over.
Police.
That's terrible, guys.
Tell us they're not making any arrests. They don't have any previous criminal records, but they will get tickets to appear in court downtown.
Tickets for
on the east side. Jim Kurtzner, 7 Action News.
$200.
So they probably get tickets for trespassing in this particular situation. But like I said, when you say hitting and assault and the police can prove it, somebody going to jail. In this particular situation, it's alarming because you saw them set the house on fire. So as investors, tax lien, tax deed investors, real estate investors, this is something hard to deal with. And this is why I tell you it's very important to secure your property, not only with a dog, but get some type of insurance. You see why? So as soon as you get that property, as soon as you foreclose or you do whatever you need to do to secure the tax lien or tax deed, process that you go through, get insurance. See? You see why? Because you got crazies like this that, are so vindictive for your own stuff that they'll set it on fire. So I just wanted to show you how bad some of these things can get and why we're talking about it. It's not, just to talk about these bad things that's happening. It's also about being preventative. We have to be. Squatters inside the straight home being evicted. Let's see what this one is about, because I think it was this one. This is another one. I probably got a few more videos, 2-minute videos. You know, it was so many last week. I was like, oh my goodness, I got to do a part 2. But with the part 2, I'm going to give y'all some methods and some resources to use if you find yourself in this situation or you just want to educate yourself. Because I'm going to look at one of the videos that I saw. The last one I'm going to show you is a lawyer talking about a New York lawyer, and we're going to read some of the comments. I was like, oh my God, it was squatters under there. We're going to read their comments. I was cracking up.
It has taken 6 months, countless emails and relentless phone calls. And when Ronnie Dahl started asking questions, then it turned ugly as one person throws a drink on her. But tonight, those stubborn squatters are being forced out. It is a story that is unfolding right now. Let's get straight to 7 Action News reporter Ronnie Dahl with the latest. Ronnie?
Yeah, a lot of activity out here this afternoon, but take a look behind me. You can see that the eviction notice is posted in the window. Bailiffs just left. They just cleared out this home. These squatters are out of here. This quiet Detroit neighborhood has been turned upside down since squatters moved into the house with the red door. Frustrated with the system, neighbors called me wanting help getting them out. I made phone calls and discovered their lease is fake. But still, because of the law, cops allowed them to stay. So along with neighbors, we kept the pressure on, and they didn't like it. Oh, you're going to shoot us? You might shoot us. Eventually, Chase Bank, which owns the house, started the eviction process. Now their time is drawing near. A dumpster was delivered this morning, ready to clear out the house. This is Ronnie with Channel 7. Are you guys moving out? The voice behind the door tells me they are moving, but they aren't being nice about it. They pulled up alongside our truck, and then this happened. You guys want to talk to us now? No, why not? Well, why are you stopping then? Don't even think about throwing that on me.
Allie.
They circled the block, ready for round 2, this time with a bottle of barbecue sauce. But I learned my lesson and kept my distance. Late this afternoon, the bailiff arrived and moved the squatters out. Okay, so once again,
If she white trash, you black trash today. I'm just saying. Y'all know I don't discriminate. I'm going to call a cat, a dog, a dog. That was ignorant.
and the squatters are right here. They're about to leave the establishment. Just so you guys know, you're live on television. I wouldn't do that.
With the hot sauce, y'all gonna get assault.
So as you can see, they're not the nicest neighbors that you want to live next to. And look, we're not here to celebrate having people evicted from their home, but these people moved into this quiet neighborhood. They turned it upside down. They were not pleasant to live next to. So what's happening right now? A crew from the mortgage company is inside the home. They're securing the place. These people will not be allowed to return. For now, we are live on the east side. Back to you.
Well, Ronnie, I want to know, they threatened you with a drink and then barbecue sauce. What was the latest threat right then?
Well, that was the barbecue sauce
more
there.
barbecue. Okay.
Yeah, just we're going to get out of here because they're about to come back. And we are in no way here to try to upset this neighborhood. We don't want them to retaliate against some of the neighbors that have been calling us. In fact, we have not interviewed them on camera because we don't want them to retaliate against them. But once again, we're going to go ahead and send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Ronnie.
They say,
get out of
I'm
here.
about to get the hell out of here. Look at them. Came back again. Look at the car. Do you see this? Do y'all see that car? Strong and wrong. And this is why you guys got to be careful. This ain't nothing but the devil. Okay? Well, I wonder what they're about to do to her this time. They're about to go to jail. That's what's going to happen. They all stupid. There's cameras there, everything. You're wrong. You're a squatter. You're none. Assaulted her with a drink. Then you try to do with the hot sauce. And you're coming back again. And it's all caught on camera. And you're laughing. And your face is showing. I mean, this is how bold and belligerent people can be. And this is why we're going over it. So squatters taking over America. This was 6 months ago. Rising squatters making life difficult for property owners nationwide. Yeah. All the rest of them is probably like 2-3 minute videos. We still gonna get through this. I'm trying to tell you, this is a big problem. But these ones, some of these include violence. That's why I'm showing you, because they include violence. It doesn't make any sense. All right, let's get to it.
Welcome back. So a disturbing rise of squatters cropping up throughout the United States. Imagine this, people forcing their way into unoccupied homes, then claiming them as their own, usually changing the locks and printing bogus documents in the process. Not only is it a nightmare for homeowners, but it's also a legal headache to try and resolve. This nightmare became a reality for two business partners in Jacksonville, Florida, who spent weeks trying to get their house back. Watch. Florida homeowners Patty Peoples and Don Tierer were excited to put their property on the market back in February, but almost as soon as they put out their for sale sign, squatters moved in. They refused to leave, claiming they were victims of a rental scam and said they had every right to be there. And just like that, these business partners became the latest victims of a nationwide squatting problem.
And I was unable to get into the front door because that sunroom door was locked. So I went around the back of the house to use my key to get in, and then it dawned on me that there may be individuals in the house and I would be placing myself in harm's way. The squatter said, "We rented this house. Here is a receipt that she showed me that showed that she had paid last month's rent, as well as a pet deposit." And I said, "Well, this is a fraudulent lease. The house is not for rent."
For more than a month, the homeowners tried to confront the squatters. During one of their encounters, Patty was violently shoved out of her own home. But finally, after weeks of frustration and more than $5,000 in attorney fees, this week, the court ordered the squatters out. But the feeling of victory quickly came to an end when Patty and Don re-entered their property.
Be careful where you walk. There's a lot of broken eggs and eggshells and slime on the ground and a lot of dog feces. So.
What were they after in your walls?
They weren't. We don't think so. We think they were just being vindictive.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
This wasn't even
violence. This is violence.
Even, they weren't trying to get anything. They just wanted to destroy.
They just wanted to destroy the house.
So I saw the before photos. This was such a beautiful remodel. It was,
we were proud of it. It was one that we knew was going to sell. It
beautiful
was
flooring, and they took literally a sledgehammer to it.
They did. This is the worst room.
Holy moly.
This hurt my heart, y'all.
Oh, they were really pissed off in this room.
Oh, my God. That's when they started going crazy.
So when y'all came for the first time in here to look at all of this, what was going through y'all's mind?
Your heart just drops and you just wonder what kind of people can do this. It's just...
Yeah.
It's just wrong.
I'm just curious. If you guys decided we're just going to barge in and take our property back,
we would have been arrested.
Y'all would have been arrested?
We were told that very clearly.
Very clearly. Do not attempt to remove them.
How much is it going to take to repair all of this damage?
Well, we don't know. We're meeting the insurance adjuster tomorrow, and we're hoping that insurance will cover it.
Hoping?
Well, there's a clause that says if a house is vacant for more than 60 days, you have to have vacancy insurance, which you would never heard about.
Wow.
So if they say the squatters were not here, considered tenants, the house was vacant for 60 days. However, we couldn't get in the house because the court told us we didn't have right to walk in.
Wait a minute. You learned something new today. They want you to have regular insurance, like you have renters insurance. We also can have insurance as landlords. But then they want you to have additional vacancy insurance. Oh my God. You see how they socking it to everybody? That's a socket to you now. For real. Seriously? Seriously? Seriously?
So we couldn't sell it, and nor could we even get a regular tenant in. So we have a feeling, and we'll let you know, that the insurance company will first deny.
To understand the insurance dilemma, I spoke with Florida real estate attorney Sean DeVries.
In most policies, unless you call your insurance company and ask them to instate a policy that covers a vacant property, oftentimes when somebody comes in and they are there, a squatter in this instance, the insurance company could come back and say, no, we're not going to cover it because you don't have vacant property insurance.
Wow.
No criminal charges have been filed in Patty and Don's case, but they're working with state lawmakers to reduce squatters' right while they work to restore their own home to its original state. But their message to Americans, take extra precautions.
Never leave a house vacant. So we should have gotten someone to stay here and live here. So the house was never vacant.
Really?
We shouldn't have put a for sale sign in front of the house. We should have not had it advertised for sale except for the multiple listing service so that other people weren't aware it's for sale. Don't hang a lockbox in the front of your house.
See?
Have a security system and check on it every single day.
Let me stop. You see what I was saying? Don't have that lockbox in front of your house. And it was so funny because one of the properties that I'm selling, I was like, I don't want that for sale sign out there. I don't want that for sale sign out there. And it was just something about it. It was like it just attract everybody, attract the neighbors that want to come walk through that property for no reason, just people that want to just browse. So when it's on the MLS, you have more focused people who have right to, look at it and who actually looking for homes, investors and things like that. Serious people, they go that route, the MLS. So these are some good hints and tips here, y'all. Okay. First one, who knew about vacancy insurance? They add something on all the time to hit the little guy. Okay. And these are other tips that you can use to protect your vacant property. She said, never leave it vacant. If you got to get a dog, put the dog in there. Put two dogs. Somebody who come and check on the property every 2 days and feed the dog. Yep. It will save you way more money. Thousands of dollars they have to pay for this, pay for all of this damage. And there's a big possibility that they said they know the insurance company is going to deny the claim. My heart hurts for these ladies. I promise you, it hurts.
Man, how do you even sell the house if you can't put a for sale sign there? So the homeowners tell us that the running total for the repairs is at $20,000 so far, and it's still unclear how much of any insurance company may cover. And while the squatters claim that they dealt with a leasing agent to get their so-called lease, there's no record of that agent existing. The lease wasn't even signed.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to.
So they just made their lease up. As I told you, they can make that up, play games all the way until they get in court. And my thing is, how do they find the people's name? You know what I'm saying? Maybe when they call the police the first time, that's how you get the people's name. Because that's the only way I can think about how you getting the people's name in there, those squatters. You got to get the police to come the first time. That's very troubling. That's violence to a house. Armed squatter killed by Florida deputies trying to evict him from apartment. This was 1 year ago. Okay, we're showing you these because they're a little different from last week. These high value. Violence. Okay, so be careful, guys. Both ways. Squatters too. Get it together. I know you done lost your damn mind because you need somewhere to stay, but baby, life is precious.
An eviction notice, a man who wasn't ready to leave. This morning, that process turned deadly as the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office says they were forced to shoot the man.
Wow.
As Fox 13's Kimberly Quizon reports, instead of leaving, deputies say the man armed himself with a knife.
Friday morning, the sound of gunfire could be heard from inside Palm Place in downtown Sarasota.
Anytime you serve civil process paperwork, it can be a highly emotionally charged interaction.
The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office says 3 deputies joined by a lawyer were there to remove a 58-year-old man from the complex.
Yesterday, the eviction notice was served 24 hours ago, which means placement of signage on his door. The same deputies that were involved in today's incident served that paperwork yesterday and posted that sign.
Deputies say the process actually started 6 months ago in September when the owner of the residence passed away. The owner's family wanted to sell the unit, but his roommate, who had lived there for 11 years, didn't want to leave.
In many ways, he was kind of squatting in this unit. He was not able to be here. His name was not on the lease. He should not have been here.
When deputies returned Friday morning, he was still there.
When they went into the unit, the individual armed himself with a knife, and he advanced towards our deputies.
The sheriff's office says a female deputy fired her gun, killing the 58-year-old. In downtown Sarasota, residents peered from their balconies.
One of the things that I enjoy about this area is that it's pretty much crime-free.
Many are shocked by what happened.
Terrible thing. I hope it's a one-off.
I'm shocked because, no offense, police, you'll kill anybody. Come on, you couldn't get a taser for the old man? You couldn't get a taser for the old man, okay? This is ridiculous. This is desperateness, okay? This is ridiculous. This guy was a squatter. He turned into a squatter from a renter to a squatter. He probably wasn't even, because he wasn't actually on the lease. He wasn't considered a renter. I don't understand why he couldn't work anything out with them and gave them, rent, set up a lease agreement, But maybe he couldn't, and he was going through some mental issues, obviously.
All I can say.
The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office is one of the few agencies in the area that does not wear body cameras. They'll be relying on interviews with the deputies and the lawyer that was present for their investigation. In Sarasota, Kimberly Quizon, Fox 13 News.
Sorry, that makes it even better. Nobody can. That's terrible. You see how wild it could get? Oh, wow. Okay, squatters, you see that? Just chill. Sometimes it ain't worth it. Now, legal options when squatters move into a vacant home in Florida. So we're going to talk about it from a Florida perspective, and then we're going to talk about it from a New York perspective. And under the New York video, we're going to look at some of the comments because they was a little wild. In New York, get down. It was like, nah, that's not the law. I was like, is that squatters under there telling this lawyer what's the law? What they down there in New York doing right now? But everywhere though, it is bad. People have nowhere to go because of the inflation. I don't really believe it's not because we don't have homes. I don't believe that it's not because we don't have properties available, buildings, empty lot, vacant lots. We have a lot of that, but because we have greedy people that control our economy allegedly. You know what I'm saying? Play these inflation games, play these numbers, and what do you call it? What is it? Is it right at it's called fractional reserve banking. Yes. We end up getting a blunt end of it, and this is what you see on the outside end of all of that. What I'm talking about. This is all that happens through our people, through our community. The way they're behaving, how sick they're becoming in the mind, desperate. Okay, let's get to it.
And our producer came and told us what they asked on the phone. He didn't really know if we could answer it, but we're going to try and take it live on air for that viewer right now. She said she called in and she asked, she has squatters illegally staying in her vacant house. How does she handle that or get them out of there?
That's something that comes up, and we see. Unfortunately, we've seen it a lot more here locally than we have in the past with some of the things that have been going on with the housing shortage. James, what kind of situation?
It's not a housing shortage. Excuse me, my tea went down the wrong pipe. I don't believe it's a housing shortage, just like I see it.
How do you deal with that when it's not? You don't have a lease. So it's not an eviction. So what kind of cause of action do you have to take care of something like that?
Under the law, and a lot of folks get this mistaken, is it's not an eviction. It's called an ejectment. And what it's based on, and without going too far off the reservation here, it's possession. This individual has possession of real property without authorization.
You see what I'm saying? You remember when we were going over terms, the buyback team, when I told you is a difference between ownership and possession? I kept saying, you can own it, but that don't mean you possess it. You can own it. I mean, you possess it. You can possess it, but that doesn't mean you own it. The renters can possess it, but that doesn't mean they own it. Does that make sense? That's why I was emphasizing certain words, because it's going to come back up and now it's going to make sense. Okay. Those are two different legal terms. And then you have to find yourself in courts to figure out who's going to get it in the end.
So there's no lease.
Even though the owner gets it in the end, depending most likely on the situation, but you see what I'm saying.
There's no sale. It's just common squatter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, under the law, you have to go to the court. You have to say, hey, I want this individual ejected. And that ejectment action removes their possession of that real property. It is not an eviction. Eviction is a much different animal. It's much more streamlined. It's much more efficient, to be quite frank with you, cause of action. An ejectment can take time. The court systems are backed up right now. So it can take much more time than an eviction. It's much more burdensome for the plaintiff or the property owner. It was interesting because in South Walton, all those beautiful houses that were left vacant after the foreclosure crisis in the late 2000s had squatters in them. I've dealt with a number of cases, probably in the double digits, of squatters where the deputies come out, couldn't do anything. Wow. They were just there. They had possession of the property. So you'd have to go to the courthouse, and the plaintiff would have to hire attorneys and start an ejectment action. And it could take months, if not years. I knew of one that took almost 2 years to get somebody out of there because they had possession. Right.
Yeah. What just being in the house gives them possession of the property, or is that a more complicated question than that?
Yeah, you have the trespassing issue as well.
Yeah.
So that was one of the angles we would try and take. But if we had someone who was, in fact, I came across one that a fellow attorney of mine used to call a professional squatter down in South Walton County. He would go take his family to house to house to house and think he paid the taxes on it and could stay there. Anyway, we would get law enforcement involved, and they'd say, look, sorry, it's a civil matter. He says he paid the taxes, even though he was a squatter, even though he was there, he's done.
Well, and you'll find in that arena, there are several people that know the law as well as the lawyers with respect, like James said, with the professional squatters. They can, there's a lot of statutes that deal with these types of situations.
It is. Let's stop there because they asked him a specific question. What are some of the terms that makes squatters in possession of the property? And that's what we're going to go into doing a little more deeper research. I found this website that kind of break it down for us, so you'll understand how they get possession, because you can't just move in today and I'm a squatter. They did some stuff, but it's different in different states. Okay, so that was good. It was a good start, but he couldn't break that down. He could have said it's different in different states. You have to go to the state to go look, but he kind of talked over it. You know how they do. Squatters' rights to vacant foreclosure homes in New York. Now, this is the last video we're going to watch for right now, and then we're going to read the comments at the bottom because the comments was a little bit off the hook. I was like, they crazy. This is a law firm in New York.
Good day. Today I'm going to talk to you about squatters' rights to vacant foreclosed homes. There is a misunderstanding that squatters can walk into a foreclosed home, which is vacant, and end up owning the home. What squatters refer to concerning extra legal possession of homes actually refers to the concept of adverse possession. Adverse possession deals with openly and notoriously being in possession of property in the state of New York for a period of 10 years. In the appropriate circumstances, should the squatter live openly and notoriously in a vacant home for 10 years, they can claim ownership of the home.
Did you hear? Openly and, just doing their thing for 10 years, though. 10. And then that adverse possession kicks in. They're no longer squatters.
The reality is that squatting is really trespassing. The theory of adverse possession actually deals with property boundary disputes. Under adverse possession theory, the boundary between neighboring properties can be changed if one owner has utilization of the other owner's property around the boundary line for a period of 10 years or more. Squatters sneak into homes when no one is around. This is usually undertaken by vagrants or homeless people. Adverse possession of a home can only be claimed if the squatter lives openly and notoriously for a continuous period of 10 years in the residence. What most squatters are doing when they move into a vacant home is trespassing on someone else's property. Sometimes during foreclosure cases, homes are vacant for a period of time. This period of time will usually not last 10 years. Period of time necessary for a squatter to claim open, notorious, adverse possession to a homeowner, to a property. In a foreclosure proceeding in the state of New York, homes are sold in the courthouse steps. In most situations, the homeowner will be living in the home, and after the sale takes place, the new owner of the home can bring a landlord-tenant case to evict the former owners from their home. Mm-hmm. The failure of homeowners to move from their house after it's sold in foreclosure does not create adverse possession situations. Eviction proceedings can be time-consuming. During the course of the eviction proceeding, the former homeowners would be entitled to stay in their home until such time as the court grants an order forcibly removing them from the home.
Okay, so let's stop there. He taught us a lot, okay? Let's get down to a little bit of these comments. Now, what someone said, I thought as soon as you get mail on the premises and you got bills and you have documented that you live there, you are squatting. it is your choice to leave, and you can either get paid to leave or just charge you rent. This is what some people think. Okay, we're just reading it. We are house sitting 4 houses each in the $500,000 range. Nice house. Bank doesn't want squatters moving in, destroying them. We make it look like we're living there. 2 of the homes still have furniture in them, taking nice furniture. The bank didn't want the house, didn't want it in the house. Asking if we have it, they said yes. Oh, probably the furniture. But then them having to pay someone to haul it away. I even got a nice riding lawnmower and nice tools. The houses are nice subdivisions, about 4 miles from the houses. We make $150 a month per house, and $600 pays for half of our monthly bills. Plus, 2 of the houses has nice swimming pools and hot tubs, and enjoy them. So basically, that's good. So she basically make money off of that. They call and be like, okay, instead of being, the squat gang, they like, hey, we can do basically pretend that we live there. That's the more formal way. Go visit the house, do what we need to do once a week, be there, whatever. Just basically live house to house and get paid a little bit from the bank. So that was great. Had another comment: have they been living there for more than 10 years now? And somebody put Lincoln Winter. So those were 2 good comments that I wanted to highlight in that video, where you already have a squatter like, I thought you just get mail and this, that, and the third. Then they got to pay you. And this is what people think. Then you got somebody on the other side like, I can make some money off of this. They probably didn't think about like how I did. I'm sorry, I was a little bit, like the squat gang, make it hard for them. But, squats get squatted on. But that is a good profession to do to prevent squatters from going in. So I wanted to show you that one perspective from Los Angeles and one perspective from New York. And now we're going to go into an article by Steadily. Now, Steadily, I am not connected to Steadily. I believe that they're American insurance company nationwide. And I know we happen to be talking about insurance. Who knew you needed vacant apartment and vacant home insurance? Okay, maybe you could talk to them about that. But they had this article that I found interesting that I wanted to share with you guys. Everything you need to know about squatters' rights. So it breaks down a good amount of it. Let's take a snapshot and listen to it. It goes over squatters versus trespassers, the origin of squatters. Okay, doctrine of adverse possession and common law for squatters' rights. Taking legal actions against squatters and eviction process. Steps to prevent squatters and securing your property. Landlord insurance and protection. It's affordable. That's their thing. So we just got to listen to a few minutes of this article. I will go bit by bit, but I got another few articles to share.
Have you ever had to deal with unwanted guests? We all know how frustrating it can be when someone overstays their welcome or shows up unannounced. Imagine if you're a landlord and discover a squatter camped on your property. It can be a nightmare, especially if they have squatters' rights. Without proper insurance and legal help, you may feel helpless and unsure of what to do. So, what exactly is a squatter? A squatter is someone who moves into land or property without any legal claims or ownership. They don't have permission to be there, and they don't pay rent to the landlord. Now, it's important to understand that a squatter is different from a trespasser. While a trespasser enters a property unlawfully for a short period, a squatter intends to stay and refuses to leave. Dealing with squatters may seem simple, but it can become a complex issue if not handled correctly. Squatters' rights have been recognized by laws for centuries, dating all the way back to the medieval period. These rights were put in place to protect individuals from mistreatment by landlords and to prevent vigilante justice. Now, let's talk about what squatters' rights actually entail. Through the doctrine of adverse possession, a person can acquire ownership of land or property that belongs to someone else if they meet certain requirements. Each state has its own laws regarding squatters' rights, but generally, a squatter must reside on the property for a certain period of time, typically between 5 to 20 years, and meet specific conditions. These conditions include continuous possession of the property, open and not secret possession, actual possession that may cause the landlord to consider it trespassing, and exclusive ownership where the squatter acts as if the property is their own. By openly taking residency on the land and paying taxes, squatters increase their chances of being awarded the property. It's important to note that squatters' rights do not apply to individuals who refuse to leave or pay rent after their lease has been terminated. In such cases, eviction laws come into play. Squatters' rights also do not differentiate between intentional or accidental possession. For example, if your neighbor builds a fence that encroaches on your property and you don't object, they could eventually claim that land as their own. So, how do you navigate the issue of squatters if you're a landlord? If you discover a squatter on your property, the first step is to call the local police or law enforcement. They can accompany you when speaking to the squatter, document the situation, and provide you with police reports. Keep in mind that the police may not be able to remove the squatter immediately. If the squatter refuses to leave despite police presence, you can proceed to file an unlawful detainer action, which begins the process of serving a formal eviction notice. It's highly advisable to seek legal advice as the eviction process may vary depending on your state of residence. During the court hearing, both you and the squatter will have the opportunity to present evidence, and if the squatter fails to appear, the court is more likely to rule in your favor. If the court orders the eviction, local law enforcement will forcibly remove the squatter from the property. To prevent future instances of squatting, it's important to take preventative measures. Secure your property by implementing measures such as regular property checks, posting no trespassing signs, installing alarm systems, outdoor lighting, and street cameras. Keeping your property in good condition, staying up to date on tax payments, and having clear rental agreements can also help protect you from future squatters. Lastly, as a landlord, it's crucial to invest in landlord insurance to protect yourself and your property. Landlord insurance covers the risks associated with rental properties, including protecting your rental income and providing coverage for various damages and liabilities. While it's not legally required, having landlord insurance can help prevent significant financial losses and provide you with peace of mind.
Yes, it may be able to. I want to say thank you to Steadily. This was a great article. I'm going to leave this link down there for you guys. But some of the things that she highlights is that the squatters laws and adverse possession laws are different in different states. Sorry, I had that serious face on. I was listening. The history of squatters, they said it started in medieval times. We're not going to get into that. Do squatters really have rights? So let me just get to this article. I'm going to read it to you guys. It says in most jurisdictions, squatters do not have rights of owner occupied property because they are trespassing. Believe it or not, squatters really do have rights with rental properties and vacant homes. So in properties where basically no one lived there, this is where the rights kick in. If a squatter continues to use the occupy the property, even if you are unaware that they are, most cities and states give the squatters the right to be served with the eviction notice and go through the eviction process. Furthermore, state adverse possession laws give squatters the right to obtain ownership titles to your property within a certain period of time after paying back taxes and other fees associated with the property, but without paying the owner for the property. That sounds like a backdoor to the tax lien process. So they're like, hey, if you're going to keep paying the taxes, ain't nobody coming for this place, then eventually you could file for adverse possession. You see how it's similar to the tax lien process, but it's not, okay? Fortunately, the transfer of the property title to the squatter is measured in years rather than months. So it's between 5 to 20 years, depending on the state. In California and Montana, squatters who are continuously in possession of the property and who pay taxes on the property during the time can make an adverse possession claim in 5 years. Many other states, such as Georgia, Maine, and Ohio, require the squatter to continuously possess the property for 20 years and more before claiming adverse possession and the right to the real estate property. So why squatters have rights? Although it may seem counterintuitive, squatters' rights were developed over time to discourage property owners from using vigilant justice by taking matters into their own hands. Generations ago, property owners could use the threat of violence or actually violence to remove people entirely or living in a property without permission. Today, in some states, or with permission, you know what I'm saying? Today, in some states, this is still a case, but it is always better to call the authorities for assistance instead of using force. In the scheme of things, one of the reasons squatters have rights to ensure that justice is achieved Owners actually on their own to remove a squatter could quickly find a situation spiraling out of control, putting the property and the general public at risk. As what you saw, we saw violence. Squatters' rights also outline the obligation of each party to help keep the local real estate market under control, and removal of squatters by the authorities hopefully peaceful. So we talked about a little bit how to evict the squatters, being a squatter, beginning the squatter eviction process. We're going to leave this article for you that I'm reading because we're like 57 minutes into the broadcast. But what I will go into is squatters' right. These two websites that I found that will break down squatters' rights in 2023 by state law district. Check this out, guys. I know I'm always finding some good resources, baby. Yes, my geeky self. I can't help it. Okay, so adverse possession statutes vary from state to state depending on the specific area in which the property is located. Different documents will be required as well as a varying amount of possession years. I'm not trying to teach y'all how to do adverse possession, but as a landlord, a homeowner, you want to know what they can do to adversely possess your property. There are some people who invest in 15, 20, 30 properties. I'm not hating, do what you got to do, but you better know how to manage all those properties because this can happen to you and cost you thousands of dollars. So here is documents required for adverse possession in Alabama. Here the statute. Let's go a little bit into it. Alabama, deed or pay property taxes. Alexa, if 7 years in a deed, you want to be in there for, that's what they say, 7 years in a deed. Arizona, deed and pay property taxes. Arkansas, right? Sorry, deed and paid property taxes. California, paid property taxes only. Okay, how many years do you need? Colorado, if 7 years, deed and paid property taxes. What do they mean by deed? Do you could go get a quick claim deed? You know, people be doing them fake quick claim deed. Connecticut, no documents required. Delaware, no documents required. District of Columbia, no documents required. Georgia, let's go to Florida and Georgia. Florida, deed or paid property taxes. Georgia, if 20 years, no documents required. If 7, you need a deed. Hawaii, no documents. Idaho, paid property taxes. So it's different in different places. We're going to show you another article that breaks it down too, comparing all three: adverse possession, squatters, and holdover tenants. So adverse possession, holdover tenant, and unknown person. Y'all see this? Found another good article, and this one is brought to you by Learn.e Forum for real estate. For real estate investors. So squatters' rights by state: adverse possession, holdover tenant, and unknown person. So just a little breakdown right now. Alabama, adverse possession is what we heard prior. And you always want to cross-reference, so we can use both websites to cross-reference. So living and paying on the property for a period of 10 years. What did they say before here? Deed and paid property taxes. See, that don't even match. Squatters, you're gonna have to do some more research. Anyway, but that's what it was saying. Period of 10 years. This is the statute that's with it. A squatter may also claim ownership for general possession for at least 20 years. And this is the case law that follows it. And yep, they can use case law in their case. Holdover tenants, send a notice in 7 days to quit. So you have to send them a notice before you can move forward with the eviction process. Remember, I told you have to give them notice and then you bring it to the courts. Unknown person, 30-day notice. That is the squatter. Okay. Alaska. Let's just get into Alaska real quick. So if it's an adverse possession, they must follow these criteria. If the squatter has a color of title and possession for at least 7 years of uninterrupted possession of at least 10 years. So possession for at least 7 of uninterrupted possession for 10. So basically they probably have some connections to the house for 10 years, but 7 years they lived there. And a color of title. How do they get that? I don't know, y'all. I'm not going to research it to show these squatters what to do, but we need it for tax liens and tax deeds. I'll let y'all know. Again, here in Alaska, the holdover tenant gets 7-day notice before you can take it to court. and 30-day notice for unknown person. So I'm going to share these two websites with you guys that has a lot of their adverse possession information in it, as well as holdover tenants and unknown person. And then the other one literally has the same information, but you want to cross-reference because the other one we showed you, the information was a little bit different. You see why Lashley always cross-reference? I'll be having like 4 resources up there, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is a little bit different. Okay, so this is what I always want you guys to do, to cross-reference. If I tell you something today, you research it tomorrow. Don't go run with it with your head chopped off, no matter if it was me or anybody share information with you. Secure your energy. We focus on you learning how to secure your energy and use your critical thinking skills. We give you context clues, stories, examples. And when we're talking about tax liens and tax deeds via Primetime Home Buyer, we're giving you methods. We're giving you methods, a way of doing things. We're giving you tools to where you go find your information, and abstract ways of thinking to make sure that if your investment go to the left, you could pull it right back on to the right and do something else with it, because there's always something happening. You never know, especially the way the economy is going. So I think we've been on for about 53 minutes. I wanted to keep Monday a little bit spicy because I was like, I'm not about to do nothing boring today. I want to be a little bit spicy. So I hope that was spicy and informative for you guys. What we're going to follow up with on Friday is, this is going to be a little bit just formal. It's going to focus back on primetime home buyers, tax lien and tax deeds, family information. We're going to go into homeowner occupied homes after you acquire the tax lien or tax deed, what to expect. Basically, a lot of the things that we've been talking about, going through the general eviction process, this, that, and the third. But what we're going to show you is what states, like, okay, where do you find the particular information for your state if you have to do that? Okay, so we're going to pull up a state, possibly a state or two, and try to compare as far as 2 tax lien states, probably a tax lien and tax deed state that may have a home owned, a home that's occupied. Okay, so I think we're going to do a tax deed states because we'll probably have a higher chance of finding a home being occupied with a tax deed state. So we're going to look into 2 tax deed states, possibly Friday, to find home, like just the laws behind it of what to expect if you buy a tax deed and there's someone still living in the home. Okay, most likely you're going to have to get possession of the home because they're in possession. You have to take them formally to the process, but we want to, do a little research, show you how to research that as a tax lien and tax deed investor. And then what we doing on Monday? I think Monday I said I was going to. It was one more thing I said I was going to do on Monday. Monday I had something fun to do too. I forgot. We're going to remember by Friday. I'll tell you what we're going to do on Monday. But other than that, I hope you guys have a beautiful, beautiful week. If you did miss us on Friday, we did upload in the group, Primetime Home Buyers Group, Tax Lien, Tax Deed Expert. You on Primetime, on Facebook. I do apologize. We have a page and a group, and that's where we upload our deals, our motivational speak words, our people who have questions. I answer them. I think people are a little bit afraid. Don't be afraid, guys. I will answer the questions. I'm not afraid to answer, but not all questions. And also, if you want a consultation with me, you have to go through the website and actually pay for a consultation. I want to say shout out to everyone who became members to the website. I love you for paying $19.99 for being part of our actual membership. But with that membership, you just get access to exclusive videos. You get access to our blogs, our member section. When everybody start participating, you can talk to everybody in there. Also the app and newsletters and hints and tips. So, but if you want an actual consultation and you have a membership, I advise you to set up a separate consultation. You'll see that on our consultation page. If you are interested in free consultations, you receive free consultations when you actually get into the program. And the program is located. Let me show you something. Hold on. What are you going to show out? Let me show you something, guys. I'm going to pull up the website for you guys so you can see our plans. Again, we're going to put them on the screen, let you know, show you what we're working with. We got a lot to offer on Primetime Home Buyers. But with our other plans, you do get the membership and you also get consultation. So tax lien basic course, the intro, you get a 15-minute free consultation. The full course, you get 2 consultations, 2 30-minute consultations with me, set up at any time you want to. And if you're interested in just general consultations, you can go to our tax lien tax consultation right here, and you'll be able to set up the consultations that you want. Okay, we got a good price. Also, if you want the course and you want to do a one-on-one with me, that can happen. You can get the course and 4 live one-on-one sessions with me, 4 hour, anytime you want to. Usually it's going to be on Sundays. You pick the 4 Sundays you want while you go through the course. You will get access to the course prior, after, and forever. But you will want to set up 4 free 1-hour consultations with me so we can go through the course together. Any material that you need to ask questions about, I can help you do some research, really get you in and ready to be an effective tax lien and tax deed investor. Okay. So I hope that was informative for you. Welcome to the buyback team. The people who don't know about me, welcome, welcome. If you don't know, now you know. This is going to be maybe your only way to enter the market in this inflated real estate market. So I want to say I love you, and I will see you guys on Friday. Have a beautiful week.
The real estate market often seems like a distant world where only an elite of experts is successful. In a time of so much uncertainty in the air and bad news, realist investing can seem intimidating. But today, I want to tell you that if you make the right decision today, you can enter the real estate market from the back door. Bad credit record? No credit at all? Do you dread the idea of having a home loan? Do you dream of owning investment properties? You are in the right place and right time, because we have created a program which is a tax lien and deed investment online course of only 14 hours. This course is specially designed for people like you who have big dreams. You will learn at your own pace and everything from your home computer. This is your chance. Join our membership for $19.99 a year. What are you waiting for? Visit our website primetimehomebuyerBuyback.org and sign up today for course access.